Hello, welcome back to the We Are City channel for a bit of a different video here on the channel, something we've not done before, and that is a tier list. Now, tier lists were once a very big thing, weren't they, on the channel at one point, on YouTube channels in general, and everyone was doing tier lists on absolutely everything. Now, it's not as big a trend anymore, but I want to do a tier list purely because I have to say, firstly, thank you very much to a close friend who managed to give me the chance to use City Plus. If you haven't used City Plus, I think it's around $1.99 a month. It is exclusive City content there, where you get to see, you know, highlights of full matches and things like that on Manchester City TV, basically online. And through using City Plus, I managed to watch highlights and lots of Manchester City's youth team, both the under-21s or the EDS, the Elite Development Squad as City call it, and the under-18s. And from watching that, I've been able to see a lot of performances from a lot of our young, youth players. And I used to go and watch the youth players quite a lot a few years ago. Go to the ground and watch the youth players play. So I've got a list here of around, I think, 20 youth players altogether. Some that have got into the first team, some that have not made an appearance, have been on the bench yet, some are out on loan or are injured or so on. And I wanted to just tier list them so you guys can, sort of have a look at these players in the future and say, will these players make it to Manchester City? Will they not? What to expect from them. And maybe you can go online, go on YouTube and watch a few highlights of just the players themselves. I'm sure people have pulled out clips. So we've got around 20 players, and these are the categories. So can be world class. This is a player that can be, Phil Foden level, can be world class. Could be starter, someone who is not going to be, amazing, but could be in the Manchester City first team at some point. Could be bench level, so someone who can be on the bench for Manchester City, that sort of player. Could be squad level, so someone who can be in the Manchester City squad, someone like a Scott Carson or a Kieran Slicker, or, someone who is, a third choice, fourth choice player, just in around the squad to make the numbers up. And then must leave, someone who's got to leave the club, really, if they are going to make it as a footballer, because at Manchester City, it has gone stale. So there's a few players I can pick out straight away from this list that must leave, in my opinion. So I'll go through them right now. Number one is Claudio Gomez. Claudio Gomez must leave Manchester City. The young Frenchman was brought in around 15, 16 years of age, wasn't he? From PSG, the next N'Golo Kante. Big things expected from him. He made that maybe 2-minute appearance in the Charity Shield against Chelsea. Since then, he's been on pretty unsuccessful loans at PSV Eindhoven. He's at Barnsley, I think, at the moment this season. Not going to make it at Manchester City. He's been pushed at right back as well in the youth team when he's played there in previous seasons. He needs to move for the best of his career. I think he's around 19, 20 now, so things haven't worked out for him at all. Another player in the similar category to Claudio Gomez is Jaden Braff. Now, this man, when I'd seen him play for the youth team, was what I thought someone who was going to be Phil Foden level. Honestly, if you'd asked me 2 years ago, Jaden Braff would be in can be the world class section. He would be there. Electric winger, Dutch. He's quick, strong, skillful, bit greedy at times, but can hit a shot from anywhere. Got a good eye for a pass as well at times. But Jaden Braff is not going to make it Manchester City now. He's had a bad injury since he went on loan at Udinese, and has not made an appearance, I don't think, in the youth team all season. He will be leaving Manchester City at the end of his contract. It was a big shame because he was a high potential player there. But off the field issues sort of caused his problems as well. He was a bit of a bad boy off the field, I think, at times, and there was just no stories, rumours of him going around throwing money at people in the street and things like that. But what do you expect? He's 17 years of age. City should be there to try and stop him doing that and educate him, giving him that much money at 17, and that's what could happen. And someone else also in this category, maybe two more really, is Tommy Doyle. Tommy Doyle is not going to make it Manchester City. A beautiful set piece, taker, very good on corners, very good on free kicks and things like that, but he just isn't the man to be in the Manchester City first team. He needs to improve his all-round sort of play. He's on loan at Cardiff at the moment, and I think that will suit him if he just keeps, staying in the Championship, and he can improve himself over time. And one more player in this section that must leave, from looking at the players we've got here, is Morgan Rogers. Morgan Rogers, I believe, should leave Manchester City. He's a player that looked exciting when he was signed from West Brom. He had the similar sort of reputation as Jadon Sancho coming through West Brom's youth team. Manchester City paid $8 million from him. Really, he could be around here. I think he could be around a bench player, but this season he really stagnated. He hasn't made it at Bournemouth. He needs to leave the club on a permanent, I think. Get a club where he can play a lot of first team football, and then still he could, improve. He was impressive at Lincoln the season before that, but at Bournemouth this season, just not impressive at all at Bournemouth. Now on to the rest of the players. So let's just go through these players in line now. We've got just quite a few still left. So we'll start with goalkeepers, and that is Mickey van Sass. Now, Mickey van Sass, Dutch goalkeeper, signed from Utrecht, very good on the ball, but doesn't play much for Manchester City's youth team quite yet. don't think he's that highly rated, and I'll say he could be a bench player. I think he could be a second choice keeper at Manchester City. I think that's as high as he ever's going to get. I think that's his level. I could be wrong there, but I think that is as high as this young Dutchman will ever get, and he won't be anymore. If you watch our Manchester City career mode on FIFA 22, he was a starter, 89 rated at one point. Next, we'll go on to defenders. We'll go with centre-backs, and the first one is Luke Mbete. I think he could be a starter at Manchester City. See, you know, rated very highly by Pep Guardiola. I think he could be a starter at Manchester City. Very highly rated, a very, very good player. And from what I've seen of him, he's got that air of Vincent Kompany around him. And joining him there in that could be a starter is another left-footed centre-back. Is Callum Doyle, who is pretty much Aymeric Laporte reborn in the body of an Englishman. Very similar to Aymeric Laporte, a bit more maybe physical at times, but these two left-footers, I think only one of them will make it Manchester City, but they both have the opportunity and both have the ability, I believe, to be a starter at the club in the near future. Another centre-back is Finlay Burns, and I would put Finlay Burns in the squad player section. I don't think he's going to be you know, a player that's going to make it at Manchester City. I think he could be a squad player in and around the squad, but I can't see him getting any better than that. He's just he's a bit clumsy at times, and he's just not aesthetically the sort of player I like to look at and think, yes, he's going to be really good. I really don't think that. I think he will be a squad player if he ever plays for Manchester City. On to no defenders left now, but fullbacks. First one is Jaden Braff. I think he could be a bench player at Manchester City. I was impressed with him in the game he played against Sporting in the Champions League. He's a very solid player, and Pep Guardiola said he is very much a sort of 7 out of 10 sort of player. And Jaden Braff could be that man to come and play, you know, off the bench for Manchester City, be a second choice right back, not a first choice player, but definitely a second choice player. And the same goes for Josh Wilson-Esbrand. I think he won't be a starter for Manchester City really, but I have been impressed when I've seen him play for the youth team. Not as impressive as he was when he actually made his appearance for the Manchester City first team, I think in that game against Wickham, but he has that sort of ability, Josh Wilson-Esbrand, to pick a pass. He's quite quick as well, loves to get down the wing and cross, but he can play on the overlap or as inverted wing as a fullback, and that's what I think is really, really impressive with him. Thomas Galvez is in a similar position, but at the moment I'd say Galvez is a squad player. I haven't seen enough of him. He's just signed, hasn't he, not too long ago from Watford, can play in the midfield, can play the fullback, technically very gifted, but I don't know at the moment. I couldn't say whether he'd make it at Manchester City. So that is the defenders done. Let's go into the midfield now. And we only have one real midfielder, one holding midfielder anyway, and that is Romeo Lavia. And I'm going to put Romeo Lavia up there. It could be world class. I honestly believe this man could be world class. Signed when he was 14 years of age for Manchester City in a sort of tournament, a friendly tournament that Kevin De Bruyne put on in Belgium. De Bruyne noticed him, Pep Guardiola noticed him, and then Manchester City decided to sign him. Romeo Lavia could be a big player for Manchester City in the future. I think a holding midfielder, the heir to Fernandinho, possibly heir to Rodri maybe a little later on. He's only 17, 18 years at the moment, but I do think he could become world class, and he's one of those that Pep Guardiola has singled out as a top player. And I do think he can be a top player with time at Manchester City. Another midfielder we have here, no defensive midfielders, is James McAtee, and I'm going to put James McAtee up in the world class section with Romeo Lavia. City clearly have high hopes for James McAtee, and I do think James McAtee could be a world-class player, could be the next Phil Foden for Manchester City, along with a few others, and he could be in and around that Manchester City first team very easily. Got that David Silva-esque style to him. He seems to have modelled his game on David Silva, and for the youth team, he just seems to score goals so easily, scores plenty of goals, gets assists as well, and I think he's actually better going forward than maybe even Phil Foden. I think he's more of a natural goal scorer than Phil Foden, especially in a central role, which is really good to see. As I move it around just a little bit there. On to the next one, we go with Cole Palmer, winger, central midfielder, and Cole Palmer also goes into the world-class section. Cole Palmer could be world-class, could be another Riyad Mahrez. I think he needs to work on his game. He looks very relaxed at times, which he spoke about in interviews, that he needs to work on, maybe too relaxed. But he does have that ability to, I believe, come world-class. On that left foot, wonderful left foot. he sort of glides across the ground, Cole Palmer. He's very tall, actually, for a winger, similar to Leroy Sané, but he's not quite the pacey player. He beats players for skill in the similar style to Mahrez and dribbles predominantly on that left foot, but he has got a lethal left foot. That's for sort of a midfielders. We'll go for wingers now because the rest are wingers. We only have one striker here. So, firstly, which winger should we go with? We'll go with Oscar Bob, recently signed in Manchester City, new contract. I'm going to put him in the squad player. I don't think he'll ever make it at Manchester City, actually. I think he's obviously a decent enough player, but I don't think he will make it at Manchester City, Oscar Bob. Then on to Dyer and Boudet, signed from Rangers, I believe it was, a Scottish winger. I tell you what, he's got a bit of a flair about him, this young man. Can beat players for pace and skill. And I don't know if you remember Yannick Bolasie against Liverpool doing the thing where he sort of touched the ground before he set off and was really just messing with the defender. Dyer and Boudet, go and have a look. There's some clips of him doing that against the defenders in the when playing for the youth team. He's a very, very good player. And a player who's not as skillful as Boudet, but he's pure pace. And if anything, I wouldn't liken him to Adama Traore, but that sort of player that relies on knocking the ball past a player and going at them and then putting a cross in, or not really someone who can shoot, cut inside and shoot, not really his game, but is a reasonable finisher. That is Carlos Borges, who's been at Manchester City for a very long time, the Portuguese international, I think since he's about 11 years of age. He could be a bench player at Manchester City, but I don't think he'll be at any higher level than that in the end. Another winger is Samadozi. Samadozi goes in the bench player level as well. Had that air of Leroy Sané about him, didn't he, in the youth games, and also when he played in pre-season against Blackpool and Barnsley, and people are pleasantly surprised, and he wasn't someone that Pep Guardiola saw in these sort of top players that could make it at Manchester City, but then suddenly Pep's mind changed after seeing Samadozi. I do think he could make it at City. He has been injured quite a lot at City this season, so that's a big shame for him, but I do think he's one for the future. Then we go on to Luca Barrington. Why not Luca Barrington? I think he's got a higher level than Boudet, actually. A higher level than Borges and a higher level than Samadozi. I really do. I think he could be a starter for Manchester City in the future. Very exciting young winger, Luca Barrington. Another one to join him up there is Kayiki. Signed the Brazilian, the next Neymar. Again, similar, more style into Mahrez than Neymar, but very skillful, not really one for pace. He's not quite made his impact on the Manchester City youth team quite yet, has Kayiki, but I think he will do with time. He's a little bit lightweight, and he does need to sort of get used to physicality. Whether alone is the way to go with that, I'm not quite sure, but once I think he gets used to the physicality of the Premier League and you know, the youth system and playing English football, I do think he can be a top talent. I do think him and Palmer could share that right hand side for Manchester City in the future. And finally, our only striker here, it is Liam Delap, and he goes in the world-class section there. I do think he can be a starter for England. I do think he can be Harry Kane level of player. I honestly do. From what you see of him, he's a big man. He needs to work on a few little things. His first touch is one of them, and his link-up play. He's not the best of passes, but when he gets on the ball, actually, for a big man, he can dribble, he can run at players, and he's very skillful. So that is our tier list for our Manchester City youth players. So we'll go through them all now. So world-class players, keep your eye on them. Romeo Lavia, James McAtee, Cole Palmer and Liam Delap. Potential to be starters, Luke Mbete, Callum Doyle, Luca Barrington and Kayiki the Brazilian. Could be bench level, Mickey Van Sass. Captain for the youth team, CJ Egan-Riley, Joshua Wilson-Esbrand, left back, Dyer and Boudet, Borges and Samadozi, all wingers. Could be squad players for Manchester City, but probably won't make it for right now from what I've seen of them. Finley Burns, Thomas Galvez and Oscar Bob. Although Thomas Galvez, I think, could be, honestly, up here. But that will take time. We need to see a bit more of him. I haven't seen much of him play for Manchester City quite yet because he is so young, only 15, 16 years of age. And finally, the players that must leave, Claudio Gomez, Jaden Braff, Tommy Doyle, and that man, Morgan Rogers, all sort of stagnated at Manchester City, but especially Rogers and Braff, they could have been world-class at Manchester City. They could have been in this section, and Rogers could have been in this section if they had such poor loans, but hopefully plays for the future. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let us know down below how you feel about these youth players, who you think could make it at Manchester City, and so on. If you haven't joined our We Are City membership club, check it out. You can join this channel and be a member. We'll see you guys next time.